Spend a medical minute with Kaleida Health.
ISO standards actually began in manufacturing, so they're international standards for doing a good job. In healthcare, ISO standards are more recent.
For the community and for patients, this means better quality of results and also a continual process for improvement in the laboratory. So it's always better quality, better costs, and better patient satisfaction on that. And they've shown that with ISO standards that most labs that do get ISO accreditation are achieving that.
We have now the structure to actually create the very best quality program for healthcare provision across the patient care continuum of any place in Western New York.
For the community, this is not just the cherry on top of an ice cream sundae. This is actually a better bowl, a better spoon, better ice cream, better chocolate, better caramel, and a better cherry. And you're continuing to improve that over and over and over again. That's what these ISO standards do.